Well, welcome everyone. My name is Heather Jameson. I'm with the Montana Afterschool Alliance. And today we have Kelly and Liz joining us from Ohio. And before they get started, I'd like to remind you that we'll be using the chat box to queue questions throughout the session, and that we'll have an opportunity at the end to do questions and with our presenters today. So thank you for joining us, and Kelly and Liz, I'll hand it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Heather. Hi, everyone. I am Liz Nusken. I am located in Columbus, Ohio, and I work with the Ohio Afterschool Network on entrepreneur education with Kelly, who I'm going to let introduce herself in a minute. But it's so exciting to be a part of the very first multi-state virtual STEM conference. And we're so glad that you're joining us today to talk about thinking like entrepreneurs and thinking like problem solvers. So I am going to advance the slide and tell you a little bit about what we want to cover today. So this is the introduction portion of our time together. We're going to talk about why entrepreneur education. And I will admit, the first time I heard entrepreneur education, I was like, what's that? Why does that matter? So hopefully we'll get you, or maybe just by the fact that you're here, you're in agreement with us. We think it's a great alignment with STEM, and we're going to talk to you in our case study section about some of the things that our entrepreneur education out of school time programs have been doing that I think you'll see work great with STEM. We're going to practice our entrepreneurial mindsets, and then Kelly and I have so many resources to share with you. So and then we'll leave some time for questions and answers at the end. So I'm guessing many of you are connected to your own statewide after-school networks, but just a little bit about OAN. We're, I think, 20 years old this year. We've been around working with youth development and out-of-school time providers for 2 decades now, and this slide here captures some of the things that we do, probably very similar to what your statewide after-school network does. I've been in the out-of-school time field for 25 or so years. I was director of the Ohio After-School Network for a time. I worked at the National YMCA in their Achievement Gap initiative. And then for the past 4 years, I've been an entrepreneur myself, and I work as a consultant both with Ohio After-School Network around entrepreneur education, but I also do grant writing training and technical assistance for out-of-school time programs. And I'm going to let Kelly introduce herself, but while she's doing that, we'd love to hear from you. What state are you in? And we're also curious to know if you are an entrepreneur yourself, maybe you have a side hustle, or you're an intrapreneur. An intrapreneur is the term that is used for someone who is innovative and thinks like an entrepreneur in their job, not necessarily their own business, but you are like an entrepreneur in your work. So that's called intrapreneur. So I'm going to switch to the YEI slide. And while Kelly's talking, start thinking about what you're going to put in the chat box and get started. Kelly?
Sounds great. Thank you, Liz and Heather. Delighted to be here today. My name is Kelly Biggar, and I am patching in from Cleveland, Ohio today. I'm with the Young Entrepreneur Institute, and we've been around for about 15 years or so. Started by a serial entrepreneur, and we're housed at a boys' school in Cleveland. So this is a little snippet of some of the things we do. We work with Lemonade Day. We do a ton of pitch challenges. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. We have professional development, something called an Inspire conference that has been in person as well as hybrid over the years. We have a speakers bureau, so places where people can come grab speakers that will speak on some entrepreneurial topics. We have a lot of research. We get kids to market too. We have a lot of markets in our Northeast Ohio area that we contract with. We have a fun tent and table. We pay for the spot, and the kids get to go sell their homemade products and reap the rewards and the profits. And we are also happy to duplicate that in other areas of the nation. We have a great resource directory. We do power hours. We have games, competitions. So just everything kind of in that, we're in that youth entrepreneurial space, K through 12. We do a lot of consulting, and Liz and I work very closely together. She's with the After School Network, and We actually work out of school time as she is, but also work in school, homeschool, anybody that would like to work with us. We're typically a train the trainer model. So we work with educators, facilitators, people that are going to work with the kids, building the entrepreneurial mindset. So we network, we connect, we have resources, professional education. So we just love spreading it. And our goal and mission here at YEI is to see if we can hit every child and introduce them to entrepreneurship, experience it. And that is whether or not they become an entrepreneur, because it's that mindset that's so important, the entrepreneurial mindset. So Liz and I look forward to spending a little bit of time with you today. We thank you for joining us, and we hope you'll get a lot out of it. And since we're a small group, feel free to pipe in. If anything just jogs your mind, just raise your hand and unmute and jump in with us. We'll keep it casual.
Hey, Kelly, if we can just take a minute here. So people are putting in the chat box. I don't know if you can see it. We have some entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs from Wyoming, Georgia, North Dakota, Colorado, and Illinois. So does anybody want to come off mute and tell us a little bit about yourself as an entrepreneur or intrapreneur?
And Carmen is an entrepreneur and intrapreneur.
Yeah,
I love that.
Hey, Kelly, why don't you tell us how you and your family have been entrepreneurs?
Sounds great. My husband and I, when we got married, we had a house and we decided to maybe do some rental houses. We lived near Case Western Reserve in Cleveland. And so we bought a house a year for 6 or 7 years till we had 7 houses. So we rent to that local Case Western Reserve community. And as we had kids and grew up, all of our kids had to work. So what we had planned is that's how we would send our kids to college, sort of with the side hustle. We each had other jobs. But we kept them for about 30 years. Our kids mowed lawns, they cleaned basements, they painted houses, everything under the sun, working on these rental properties. And so we enjoyed it. It's part of our family, and we have since sold them. We sent our kids to college and beyond. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about being an entrepreneur or intrapreneur?
Carmen says she loves that. I just love how you brought up your kids to think entrepreneurially. Well.
Absolutely. And they, we have had them help with the accounting and the invoicing and the billing and, all the things that go with it, the communication. So it was really a great experience for them to almost be sort of running a business as they were growing up.
That's awesome. All right, let's go on to our next slide.
Sounds good. And, as Liz said, we've both just grown to love talking about entrepreneur education, the why and the what, as I talked about, but, building those essential mindsets and skill sets. And these are all, 21st century skill sets that are going to make these kids successful, no matter what they do, no matter if they start a business, if they're an entrepreneur or intrapreneur. When we think of things like curiosity, the growth mindset, courage, persistence and grit, opportunity seeking, problem solving. We love to teach kids to take problems and look at them as opportunities. Think of the things you can do once you solve that problem. Persistence and grit, resourcefulness, optimism, redefining failure, adaptability, empathy, just all those great skills that are sort of soft skills. We think, we don't know what the jobs are going to be in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, but these are all skills that will help these kids no matter what they do. And in doing that, these are like active type of things, project-based learning. So kids are, up and doing and making decisions on their own. They get a youth voice. So it's great because they can engage, not just listening to somebody lecture on it. Liz and I have done a lot with engaging parents and community with entrepreneurship. These pitch challenges are a great way to grab community, and we have a slide on community members later. But as guests or judges for our contests or mentors for the kids, you can connect with parents, with community people, with all kinds of different folks out there. And it's a great fit with youth development objectives. As Liz was saying, entrepreneurship really fits into everything. I was talking to somebody yesterday who's doing some summer camp. So I said, what are you already doing? Let's fit it in. You don't have to do anything new. So she was taking some field trips, and one was to the zoo. And I said, hey, how about making an appointment and talking to the person who runs the concession stand and finding out, how they started, what they sell, what's the pricing, how many people do they get, and just sort of getting the kids thinking about when they go different places, how it works in the background. And then, that in turn inspires these kids to think about these future opportunities. Like, these kids really can do anything. They're creative, they're smart, they're intelligent. And we always tell them, you don't have to be older, you don't have to be rich to be an entrepreneur. Anybody can be an entrepreneur. So that's why we love entrepreneurship, and we'd love to give you some resources to fit into what you're already doing.
So, and Kelly, we forgot to, and when we were making our slides, I forgot to share. So the Ohio Afterschool Network, as we were first getting started, we did focus groups with teens around the state of Ohio. And we're going to share a Google folder link with you a little bit later on in the report on those focus groups is in there. So there was a lot of interest on the part of young people in entrepreneurship. But one of the things that surprised us is they thought of entrepreneurs as people like Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, Elon Musk, big famous people. But they didn't think about their parents who had a car detailing business, or their brother who had a lawn service business as entrepreneurs. So that was something that we found as a real educational opportunity. All right.
Absolutely. And, when we talked to the kids, we always say, entrepreneur, it's a hard word to say. It's a hard word to spell. And when we ask them, do you know any entrepreneurs? It's a little quiet in the room, but if you redefine it and say, do you know anybody with a side hustle? All of a sudden, as Liz said, maybe the kid mows the lawn, maybe she sells bracelets at school, maybe their parent is a dentist. So a lot of it too is in how we can frame it for them.
Yeah. And then I did just want to, so Kelly's going to talk a little bit about one of their resources called Gippy, which is an online kind of grants platform for entrepreneurship resources. But I just love one of the things that they have is a field trip to a rock climbing business. And as part of that, they have the owner, as a female owner, talk about being an entrepreneur when they take their field trip to, I think it's called Shaker Rocks. So
and talk about, grit, resilience, persistence, rock climbing. So it's really fun. The kids get to climb and then get to speak with her about her entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about mindsets and skill sets.
So these are some of what I just talked about. Liz, if you want, you might want to even pop to the next slide. Okay. We have a partner that we just love called Venture Lab, and they have a ton of stuff. We'll do an activity from their repertoire in a little bit, but these are some of the different mindset that are out there for entrepreneurship. And they have a poster that's free in there. It's got the skill sets and the mindsets. We can put their link in the chat. They also have stickers. So it's really fun. You could use these stickers if somebody does something, and you could say, I'm going to give you an optimism sticker because you've been so optimistic today. So just fun to work with these kids on these mindsets and thinking about different ways that you can use them and incorporate them in your day.
And I bet a lot of those, as you look at them, align really well with STEM mindsets too.
Absolutely.
All right. So speaking of Venture Lab, I did just put in the chat box the link to their website. But one of the resources that they have is they work with the University of Texas to create a survey to measure growth and entrepreneurial mindsets, both of the young people in the after school and classroom and youth development settings, but also the adults who are facilitating the entrepreneurial lessons. And so, so you have access, if you need data, if you like data, if you want to share data with your funders or partners, this is a great free resource for you. And so they have shared with us the results across the country of what they're seeing in the people who are using their curricula and their survey. And I think as you look at this, you can see those mindsets and skill sets that align with STEM, entrepreneurship and STEM. So innovation, failure resiliency, problem solving. So as you look at the slide, so purple is good. That means 81% of those youth who were surveyed feel that they improved in innovation skills. 83% improved in failure resiliency. And what is that? 85% improved in problem solving skills. So that's good. Purple is good. And then here's another result that I wanted to share with you is that there's also a specific indicator related to STEM and being interested in going into STEM fields as a student and when they grew up. And so you can see, you know, between the pink bar and the purple bar, what is that? 74% feel that learning about entrepreneurship made them more interested in going into a STEM field. So then we wanted to share this slide as well. And we got this research, the 5 big skills that overlap between STEM and entrepreneurship from EverFi, which has tons of great resources that you might want to check out. But the skills that, yeah, that correlation is really interesting. The similarities between STEM thinking and entrepreneurship. So adaptability and flexibility, persistence, creativity, teamwork. I think you'll see all of those were on the Venture Lab resource, and then using data too. Oh, so Kitty asked, maybe we could put in the EverFi. Is that what you were asking for? We can put in the EverFi link here in just a second. All right, we'll get that because I didn't have that ready to go. Oh no, I had, look, hold on, I'm going to put in, I have actually the link to this article here that I will put in the chat box. But I'm sure you're very familiar with the design cycle, and it's the same whether you're using a STEM framework or an entrepreneurship framework. So identify a problem, and we'll show you some examples of this later. Brainstorm, conduct research, develop a solution, create a prototype, test it, share it, and then iterate based on how that testing went. So tons of similarities. Okay, so here is a case study that we wanted to share with you because we think this is a really good example of that design cycle and young people using both those STEM mindsets and those entrepreneurial mindsets. So Indian Creek Elementary, which is a kind of rural area in Ohio, their 21st century after school program wanted to do an entrepreneurship project that was merged with their makerspace. And so what they did is the third graders, these are third graders here in these pictures, identified 3 people in the school that they wanted to talk to and see what kinds of problems they were experiencing in their work and what kind of tools that they could create that would make their jobs go better. So the picture in the upper right, you can see, look how cute they are with their clipboards. They're talking to the school custodian, and he, in front of him, has his tool cart. And what he said, one of his challenges is having a good way to access his, to organize his screwdrivers. Thank you. And so they took a lot of notes on that. Then they talked to the cafeteria staff and found out what's one of their frustrations, what kind of tool that could make their work life easier. And they found that the cafeteria staff needed a recipe holder. And then they interviewed the art teacher, and they learned from her that it's really hard to store wet paintbrushes so that they dried and they stayed protected. They didn't get messed up. They weren't all piled up. So she needed a paintbrush holder. So then they went and they presented to the entire third grade. They presented these problems. So they identified those problems, and then they engaged the rest of the third graders in conducting research. What are the different products that are out there that could help solve those problems? How can we iterate and improve on those products? And so the picture of the kids with all the papers there, they are reviewing the design solutions that were presented by other third graders in their school. So then they went through a process where they evaluated those design solutions, and then they selected the ones that they wanted to go with, and then they used CAD software to design these solutions using a 3D printer. So you can see in the bottom right picture, that is a student showing the design using CAD software. How cool. So my son is an aerospace engineer. He uses CAD software. I didn't know third graders could use software. I think that's, or CAD software. I think that's awesome. So then the picture on the left are their solutions. So the top right are the paintbrush holders. The top, I think both things on the right. The black bar with the holes in it, those are for the screwdrivers. And then that round circular red piece is the Tinkercad. Okay, cool. The round piece there is the recipe holder. So they're going to be pitching and presenting these solutions to the school custodian, the cafeteria staff, and the art teacher. So what an amazing experience for those young people. And I also think it makes them have empathy, which is one of those skills that we talked about as the entrepreneurial mindsets and skill sets. They kind of put themselves in the place of the custodian, the art teacher, and the cafeteria staff. So they stretch their empathy abilities, and everybody was happy. The custodian is going to host a pizza party for those kids. All right. Kelly.
And this is a fun one as well. So we were fortunate enough to get a grant from Battelle. And what we wanted to do was work on agriculture and entrepreneurship, incorporating the two. And so we partnered with Venture Lab, who did the curriculum. With YEI, we worked on the pitch challenges, OAN, the Afterschool Network, who helped get our pilots and outdoor projects, and the Ohio Soybean Council. So just a really cool, different connections of partners working on this. So the goal was to learn about, the kids could pick bees, goats, or chickens, and to study their habitats. So we let them pick, and we used, as you can see in the middle there is a habitat piece from the Venture Lab. So the kids studied their habitats and then tried to figure out some problems with their habitats and how they could solve them. So it was really fun to see what they came up with. They did a lot of research, and then they designed the solution to their problem. So you can see some fun pictures here of the kids. And so they worked on this for 8 different sessions. And what we did, the connection with the education projects, was that we had college students from OSU, Ohio State, just various different colleges in sort of central Ohio that were trained to facilitate this program. So 2 of them would go into these after school programs and work with them on this agriculture and entrepreneurship project. And then as a end point to this, the kids would come up with a pitch and then pitch to industry experts. So we would have, it didn't necessarily, it was, most of them so far have just been more of a showcase, not a competition, but it's been fun. Then the panel, you can see on the left-hand side, there's kind of a panel over to the right-hand side of the picture. And so they would ask questions of the students about their solutions and their problems, as well as, you know, throwing in a few tips about goats, bees, and chickens, so that the kids learned from the panelists as well. So really fun. We've done a bunch of different schools. We've done, you know, kind of small groups, larger groups. We have one going in one county right now. Liz, how many classrooms? 5, I think, classrooms are doing it in Newark, Ohio. So some of the different things, I was just trying to think. One was a goat daycare. They felt like people needed places for the goats to go during the day. There was goat yoga. So just like all kinds of fun, different things that these kids came up with. So we were having fun with it. It still continues. We've got another pitch challenge. We just did one last week. We've got another one in a couple weeks. So we're working it through the summer as well. So if anybody all of these case studies, Liz and I are totally available, free consultation or whatever, to talk to any of you. So if you just want to learn any more, you want connections, we love connecting people, we're happy to help you and pass on any of this knowledge that we have. And the last
Wait,
case,
hold on a second,
go ahead.
Kelly. I just want to put in a plug for Venture Lab. So if you're interested in ag ed, so STEM and entrepreneurship, Venture Lab created this 8-session curriculum with each session being 1 hour. There is a cost for it, but includes the materials and training. So we would be happy to connect you with our colleague who developed that. Sorry to interrupt, but I just did want to put in a plug.
Oh, no,
Venture
absolutely.
Lab.
And we put the link to Venture Lab in before, and they also have a lot of other curriculum, and they're K through 12. So, as little as the kids get, and then up to seniors. So they have a lot of great curriculum. They're super easy to work with. We love Scott, and we're happy to do an email introduction if anybody would like to talk to them. And then our last case study here is leadership development at CBI, which is in Milltown, Ohio. And actually, we call them one of our early adopters because we started working with them about 4 years ago. So their latest, they've done several different projects, but their latest one was working on a garden and then selling their goods and growing. So they did a lot of research. They were learning about plants and different vegetables to grow and how to nurture them. And in the process of nurturing them, they tried to figure out, how they would water these plants when they weren't at school or they were on spring break, who was going to take care of them. So you can see them shopping up there, and then you can see them by their different plant areas. And so one day, somebody forgot to turn off the water. So you can see on the left-hand side, it overflowed. So there was a great lesson in this, in failure and resiliency and bouncing back and trying to figure out, what they were going to do and how they were going to solve this problem, this immediate problem, and then hopefully how this would not happen again in the future. So they did end up replanting, and this is a great sort of leadership development that CBI has. Again, happy to connect you with them, and they do a lot with the older kids who then work with the younger kids. So it's a really neat, awesome program. Oh, wacky inventions! What fun! Liz, are you able to? Do you have the link?
Yeah. Let's hold it. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So talk about it, and then I'll go to that website.
Okay, awesome. So Wacky Inventions is one of the activities from Venture Lab, and they have a bunch of other ones on that same site. One's a pitch builder, one's a pitch game. They have a business builder, so kids can go in, these are all free, and put their business in, put how much it'll cost, what their supplies are, and try to work all of that out, as well as coming up with a pitch, the different essentials for that. So these are just really fun games. The other thing they have on there are mindset cards. So they have them, they are in person as well, but they have on there where all the different mindsets that we talked about that correlate with STEM as well have a card. So like this card says curiosity. And a lot of times I'll pass out the mindset sheet and say, somebody pick a mindset. So this one is always ask why and what if, to seek new and creative ways of learning and doing. So what is something you would change in the world if you could? So these are just great like icebreakers, or, if you have an extra 10 minutes at the end of class, or something to do even with adults. But so those are fun. So Liz, if you just click on the Wacky Inventions game.
Yeah, and I put the link to this page in the chat box because these are all free resources. Except for, is it going to make me, I don't need to sign up here. There we go. Okay.
No, yeah, you should be fine.
Okay.
So if you look at this Wacky Inventions game, so what it does is you take two objects and then you have the kids say, what is it? What do you use it for? And what could it be? But we want to put these two objects together. So it looks like that's a backpack and a pair of scissors. So we can all just take a minute and, also a slogan. So then we'll have somebody come, and maybe I could even give a Starbucks gift card or two if somebody wants to be so brave as to pitch today. So just coming up with some, and it can be wacky. It's called wacky invention. So it can be whatever you want to think about. So let's take just a quick minute, think about scissors in a backpack and what kind of invention you could come up with that. And then maybe a quick slogan or name for it. So we'll do a timer on a minute.
Are people getting good ideas? The other thing is we could draw new cards too.
Right. We could draw new cards if you guys don't like these cards.
I don't like this one. Does anybody
Okay.
want to see what's next?
Pick a new one, Liz. See what's
Okay. All right. Okay.
Do you like those ones better?
I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. We'll go with this. So we'll give you a minute to think about
Oh, I
something
know.
wacky that you can you could do with this.
So you guys can put your ideas in the chat box. Like maybe start with that. See if we can.
Let's do
generate
that.
A whole bunch of ideas.
Put your ideas in the chat box, and then maybe we'll see if somebody wants to do a quick pitch for their idea. I like a plant delivering system via boat. Yeah.
Oh.
Method of plant sustainability through floating plant and water methods. Love that. Self-watering
Oh, that's
ship
a
for
good-
plants.
Even got we got a slogan.
Yeah. Oh, floating. Our produce will float your boat. Oh, love it. Awesome job. We always tell the kids too, like you could take pieces apart. So if you just wanted to take, the mast and the flag and make, plants with, flags with people's names on them for their birthday or something. So you can take things apart too, or you could use the sail as a cloth to shield the plant outside from snow. It's like, so kids can just think way outside the box. Garden planter, using both.
Replacement
Oh,
live
great.
plants. Nice. Was there one before that?
Like that. Yeah, I love that.
Skim off
Awesome.
invasive water plants. Awesome. Does anybody feel brave enough to come off mute and share a pitch for their wacky invention? I think Kelly has a Starbucks gift card for anybody.
Yeah, it can be it just has to be like 20 seconds. It doesn't have to be fancy, or we all know it. You're doing it off the top of your head. Carmen. Yeah. Feel free to come off mute and do it.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Carmen.
Okay. So for the women who are busy, and I'm saying women because I am a woman and I have a plant actually home. So I'm a plant mom, but I'm really busy. So I need my plants to be watered, especially when the bright light comes in from the east. And so it's so important for my plants to get the nourishment throughout the day, especially when it's hot in my living room, which is where most of my plants are. So this particular invention is for me to actually plant all of my plants in different sizes that look like the boat. So it can come in different sizes for my large plants and my small plants. And then I can water that top part of the boat comes up. I can water and put any essential oils or any other plant food in there. And then what will happen is that the cells, if it gets too hot in my living room, the cells will actually trigger the water to release from underneath. And so I'm just thinking outside of the box, just because I just need something. It could be some AI technology that I can attach to it as well to tell the temperature and say, hey, this plant needs water. But I said what did I say? Self-watering ship. And that's solely because I love the water and I love plants. So trying to think outside of the box. I should have been more prepared because I'm a plant mom. So now I'm gonna think about it.
Awesome.
No, you
Yay,
did awesome.
Carmen.
Round of applause for
Yeah,
Carmen.
way to
Awesome
go.
job. I mean, you went deep. I love how you described the story of how you love plants and you're a plant mom, like that brings people in. So way to go. Great thinking,
Oh,
great thinking
thanks.
outside the box. And if you, Carmen, can put your email in, like just, I'm Kelly Biggar. If you just do it to me, I'll send you a gift card.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
That was
Sounds good.
great.
So anybody else want to pitch, or you ready to move on?
Well, I think they feel intimidated because Carmen.
I
did
know, right?
a good job.
Yeah,
You would wanna
everybody
follow
said I'd
that.
buy that, Carmen. I would too. I could use that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But hopefully you can see that that's like a fun thing that you can do with the young people in your class. And it could be any age, right? You don't have to be a certain age to flex your creativity muscles with that.
Absolutely. And the pitch game is kind of similar to that. It's taking, some different words, a noun, an adjective, and put a verb and putting those together, and they give you the objects. And then there's another game out there called Snake Oil that's similar. So lots of fun games that are free to you to work with your kids on. So Liz and I were talking a little bit earlier about, some opportunities. So we made a little list here for you, and we're happy to pass the slide deck on too, if anybody needs it, or maybe it's on the platform. But, 21st century community learning grant applications. So entrepreneurship is, tied in with STEM is just an awesome way. You can add that into your 21st century grant. And if you need any help with that, Liz is amazing at it. So I'm going to offer her services to you to help put that into your 21st century grant. But a lot of the programs we work with have that and are now adding it to their 21st century grants. STEM and entrepreneurship would be a great spring break camp. Like, we can give you all kinds of resources that you could just do over a week if you wish, even a half day or a couple hours, but a great opportunity to do something fun for spring break camp. And summer programming planning too. Liz and I are happy to help you with that. I was just talking to somebody yesterday who's got some high school kids, and she wants to weave some entrepreneurship and STEM into her after school program. So I had lots of fun ideas for her, and we're going to noodle it over and then get back together and brainstorm some more. And then family engagement events. We worked with a faith-based organization in one of our Ohio areas, and what they did for their summer camp was once a week, each evening, they would do a family engagement. So at 6 o'clock, the whole family popped on. So we did a fun entrepreneurship session with the family, and Liz and I just had a ball talking to them, finding out who was entrepreneurs, talking about entrepreneurship. And some of the kids were there, some weren't, but it was really fun to have the parents learn what the kids were doing in their camp that they were in during the day. So great way. We had another one who did a lemonade day afternoon, where the kids all made different kinds of lemonade, and they had a contest, what was the best lemonade. And then they got a local person who played an instrument to come, and some games, and just made it a really fun Sunday afternoon. So a lot of different ways to make them family engagement. And then, college and career readiness, as all of you do in the STEM arena, just a great way to show these kids, what is out there in terms of careers, set them to start thinking of what they could do and different opportunities that they could have in all of these different fields. Because you don't necessarily have to open your own business. You can be, as we said, an entrepreneur. You can help somebody. So there's just lots of ways. You could have a side hustle, lots of ways to do that. And as we said, just super easy to integrate within existing program. I always tell people, because people don't want one more thing to have to do. So you can weave this in so easily to what you're already doing. Venture Lab also has a Spark mentoring program with a scholarship, and these are kids that can go deeper. So once they have an idea, if they wish to take their idea to fruition, Spark mentoring program will assign them a one-on-one mentor and work with them throughout a several-month period. And this would probably be via Zoom. They are located in Austin, Texas. And then they give you seed money to start and work towards a business. I was talking to a gal the other day who had a note card business, and she had been drawing all of her note cards by hand. and she worked with the SARC program, and then she ended up getting a printer at the end. So now she can print her cards out and she sells them at our markets locally. And then Liz and I love to, we've been delving into maker spaces, and we just did a PLC on maker spaces. So if anybody wants to talk about that with us, we love talking about it. But, you know, entrepreneurship STEM just obviously just is such a good match for a maker space. And as Liz showed you, even, you know, those kids using the 3D printer to make products for within their school. And we have a lot of kids in our area that make things at maker spaces and then sell them at our markets. So whether they're earrings or coasters or necklaces or fidgets, I mean, there's just all kinds of things that they can make out there that they can sell. So lots of opportunities out there. And, you know, if anybody has any others, feel free to add them in the chat, or if anybody wants to talk about them, just let us know.
Yeah, and Kathleen, as the sewer, one of the programs we worked with, Greater Cleveland Neighborhood Centers Association, I can't remember what they were sewing, Kelly, but their high school students sewed items that they sold.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we a group in Missouri, they were sewing and making dog bandanas, which I thought were really cute. And they got in cat bandanas and just all kinds of different things for pets they were sewing. And they went down to like the local fabric store and sewed with the people and got some fabrics and, you know, made a great connection there. So I'll pass it back to you, Liz, for the Ohio Means Job Readiness Seal.
Thanks, Kelly. All right, so this is an opportunity that deserves its own slide. And Rachel, I just want to mention, we just added this slide, so it's not the slide that is in that Google folder. I don't know if you can switch it out, or if not, we're happy to provide more information. But Ohio changed graduation requirements. So this is Ohio specific, but there might be an application in your state. So that high school students are required to get 2 diploma seals or graduation seals in order to graduate. And one of those potential 12 possible seals that students can choose from is called the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal. And we think this is just first of all, a great fit with entrepreneurship, but secondly, what a great opportunity for out of school time programs to help high school students meet their graduation requirements. So the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal is a way that high school students demonstrate professional skills required to be successful at work. And they need to practice and demonstrate and then get it validated by, you need to have 3 mentors, community, school, and work mentors. And when we first started working on entrepreneurship about 4 years ago, when this Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal was just coming out, our friends at the Department of Ed said that school districts were having a hard time figuring out how to do this because they just say that students need to demonstrate those skills, but they don't say exactly how to do it. And people just didn't have the bandwidth to kind of figure out that pathway. So we figured out this pathway, 12 one-hour sessions where young people, their high school students identify a problem, do a job shadowing with a mentor in the business world, and then practice their solution and their pitch and get feedback from their work mentor. And then the culminating event is a pitch challenge. So it's 12 sessions. One of those sessions is the pitch event, and then one of those sessions is the shadowing. But we've created, we kind of mashed together different lesson plans to make sure that young people had the opportunity, it was sequential, but they also had the opportunity to practice and develop those skills. So students need to demonstrate 14 identified skills, and I think you'll see that a lot of these fit very well with both entrepreneurship and STEM. So those skills would be teamwork, learning agility, critical thinking / problem solving, creativity, innovation, oral and written communication, career management. You can see them spelled out across the top. And so we worked with some of our early adopters to practice this Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal. And actually the first folks who did it was an economic development organization that had a pivot when COVID hit, and they could no longer do their summer internship program. And so they were not only our folks who piloted this, but now they've gotten grants from the Department of Ed and just done some amazing things with this. But there's been so much interest, and we've had over, I would say somewhere between 750 and 900 educators, including both school day educators and out of school time educators who've been trained on this. So we're happy to share this resource with you. I'm going to put in the chat box the link to the Ohio Department of Education website, where you can go find information about the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal, and then use that to see if you might have something similar in your state. But our state is putting a huge priority on workforce development in the education space. Workforce development and the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal receive extra competitive points in the new 21st Century Grant application that's just coming out. So, you know, Kelly and I started with this idea, and now it's being adopted across the state and promoted by the Department of Education and our other partners. So I bet this could be a good opportunity for you as well in your state. All right, so then the other thing that we love about this is it's a great opportunity to engage the community. And I know that sometimes out of school time programs with lights on and other situations struggle with how to authentically engage members of the community. So it's not just like a parachute in and observe, you know, as a bystander, but come in and are meaningfully involved and hopefully become champions for your out of school time program. So examples of folks that have been involved with our out of school time programs we've worked with, elected officials at the state level, and including the lieutenant governor's staff, chambers of commerce and economic development organizations, school board members in Ohio. Districts are required to have, oh, that's about it. Okay, I'll find a different link that works better. A business advisory council, institutions of higher ed. Every institution of higher ed in Ohio has an entrepreneurship major, minor, club, some way to connect with them. This picture here is one of our pitch challenge winners who invented his idea that he pitched was an indoor dog park. And one of our prizes for our pitch winners is you get to have a Zoom with an actual entrepreneur. And so the woman on the bottom is with the National Association of Women Business Owners. So what a great role model. I know that you're looking for STEM female role models, but there's also great female business role models as well. Okay. Kelly, is this you? Oh, no, this is me. Okay. So here's this idea. We know that there are so many different days that are recognized. Every day you could find like 50 different things that are recognized. So we got this idea from a little shoe store in Michigan that I like to go to called Willer Shoes. And the local school invited them in for National Measure Your Feet Day. So we thought more about that authentic community engagement. Use one of these specially designated days to bring in community representatives. So we looked up for today, what are some kind of STEM type celebrations? So yeah, so we thought maybe you could come up with some ideas and put it in the chat box. How can you engage the community to celebrate these days in your out of school time program? Or who in your community you want to engage. And we'll share, we have a couple links to share for finding these events, but put those ideas in the chat box, and I'm going to go get a better link for the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal. Does anybody have any ideas? National Buzzer Day. Oh, okay. It worked. Okay, I'm going to put a link to all the graduation seals, and then from there you can find the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal. Okay. All right, how are we going to celebrate Ag Day? For National Women's History Month, we were just talking about female business owners and female STEM. People Farm to Table Day. I love that idea. It's a great idea. Any other ideas? Oh, good. Yeah, for the National Ag Day. Yeah, understand where your food comes from. So you could celebrate that March 15th. Any other ideas? Anybody wants to share? I'm putting into the chat box links to where you can, oh, Fabulous Female Farmer Day. Awesome, Rachel. All right, so I just put some links where you can find out what the different days to celebrate are. All right, well, I think you can have a lot of fun with that. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Kelly.
Sounds good. And Heather, just a quick time check. What do we have left here?
Oh, we're about 10 minutes to our closing.
Okay,
To
sounds
leave
good. So
for question and answers.
I'll move quickly through this end part and then to get to questions and answers. So resources to make this happen. Liz and I have been talking about that a lot, and you can just click on this QR code, and there's a lot of great stuff out there. Some of it's free, some of it there is a cost. At YEI, we do have a speakers bureau, so you are welcome. Most of these people, they were people that came in person before COVID, but now they will Zoom to you. And it's also a great idea to maybe get an idea for a speaker that's local for you. So feel free to look into that. And we have a lot of professional development, power hours. So I will follow up with some power hour information so you can all have that. As I said, Liz and I are available for technical assistance. We're happy to talk to you or your facilitators, any sort of after school programs at all about any entrepreneurship STEM related materials. And as Liz said, in there is also the Ohio Means Job Readiness Seal facilitator guide. And then I just wanted to, and then there's Venture Lab has a evaluation tool out of the University of Texas. So we're happy to give you some more information on that if you would like. And then we have a new program that is called Yippee. It stands for Y is for youth, I is for ideas, P is for products, P is for points, E is for entrepreneurs, and E is for exchange. So it is an online marketplace for all things for youth entrepreneurship. So Liz, if you don't mind just popping to the next slide, it is a point-based system. So it's essentially free. You just have to sign up. And then if you do reviews or come to some professional development or talk to us, you can get all kinds of different points. In certain areas, we are not completely funded, but there are about 40 free products on there. So anybody can go for the free products. And I wanted to just give you a snippet of some of them that would have STEM related items in them. Venture Lab, Rising Innovator, Challenge Island, BizWorld, Invent to Make, Build, Creativity and Education, Waggy Lab. So you are welcome to sign up. I will put the link in the chat. And as I said, it's just a free resource, and it's also just a great thing to kind of zoom through to see what kind of resources are out there.
I put the link in the chat.
Oh, you're way ahead of me. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, and then pitch challenges, just a quick bit about those. We think they're really flexible. So if you want to use, do a pitch challenge with 5 kids in an after school program, easy to do. If you want to do it with, 20 YWCAs, we can do it. If you want to do it throughout the state, we can do it. So it's easy, it's fun, it's flexible. We have their resources on the Venture Lab site as well as a free toolkit. And Liz or I will put that in the chat as well. All free resources in the toolkit. It's just kind of a simple 5-session curriculum where you're first identifying a problem, coming up with a business solution, putting it together, nice content and structure, practicing, and some sort of culminating event, whether it's a showcase or a video challenge. So we're happy to help you with those. We've done lots of them throughout the nation. And speaking of that, we have a national pitch challenge coming up. And today's kind of the opening day. We were just fixing some things on our website, but I'll have maybe Liz put that national pitch link in. So it's for kids K through 12. We typically judge K through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12, up to a 2-minute pitch. Entries are due by July 15th. And so we've got a lot of fun cash prizes. And, it's a very easy, we're more about the idea, their persuasion, their speaking. It doesn't need to be a commercial, doesn't need to be fancy or filmed anywhere special. It's just meant to be a light lift for everybody, for kids to get to tell us some of their great ideas. They're so creative out there. So that was a quick rendition of our last couple slides. Liz, I think the last one is us. So we are just delighted to be here with you today. So we've got a few minutes for you guys to ask questions, or here are emails. We're available to you at any time. But anybody have any questions they want to throw out? Feel free to jump off mute or put it in the chat. So the slide deck, where does one find those, Heather? Are they out there or?
Yeah, Rachel dropped a link into the chat earlier, and then we'll make sure that when we send out our post conference communications, that will include that link as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
We can update that slide for you.
Yeah, I'm just sending
There's a lot of great resources, and you guys have shared a lot. So I'm even
it is a lot. And if you're overwhelmed and like, I just want one thing to start with, just shoot us an email and we'll help you get started, because there's just so much out there. We always say you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's something out there for you.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I had was, if someone is just starting out, what is like the number one like toolkit or kind of, toe in the water, easy to pick up experience that you think they could use with their youth that you'd recommend?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we'll talk to somebody and say, kind of how many kids do you have in your program? How many days are you meeting? What are you already doing? So that we could just try to slip something in that, doesn't make a lot of extra work for them. But, we can even start with like a video or speakers, or we've got, books that we could give, or games. So, you can really start little and just put a little something in. And then we go all the way up to, semesters worth of entrepreneurship curriculum for high school kids. So lots of different places to start, and depending what you're doing in the STEM realm, we would be happy to guide you to something that would be a fun little thing that you could add to your programming. Anything to add, Liz?
Yeah, you can just add to what you're already doing. We gave some examples. We're happy to be thought partners. And then the Young Entrepreneur Institute has sorry if you've said this already, Kelly, I was trying to send a link to that PowerPoint, but the YEI toolkit is really quick and easy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a free, just a digital thing that has stuff in a Google folder. And there are videos, there's worksheet, everything to go with, doing a pitch challenge, hosting a pitch challenge, and all the blank worksheets and forms are in that Google folder. And we're happy to help you with that too. So if you would like us to train any facilitators who might be doing it, Liz and I are happy to do any sort of training that's needed.
Oh, we appreciate.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Actually, this is only for aftercare program kids, or any other kids also can do something?
Oh, yeah.
For example, my son also interested in entrepreneurship. He is in a high school. So is there any possibility he can participate in any other things?
So Kelly, what are some of the resources that you have on the YEI website for individual entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I can send you a sheet that we have, something that's called Now What? And so it's a sheet like after kids do a pitch challenge, like what do they want to do next? So if you want to put your email in the chat to me, I would be happy to forward that on to you. But there are definitely some resources that we can guide him to, on an individual basis that he might be interested in. And, I mean, even a start would be if he wants to join our pitch challenge, we'd love to have him do a pitch. And, you don't have to be affiliated with anybody in particular. Anybody can do a pitch if they're K through 12.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does the school he goes to, does he go to school? Is there anything at the school like an entrepreneurship club or a makerspace?
Yeah. He is senior this year. He is going CCIC. Most of his subjects are business related.
Mhm.
Now he got into business leads, Colorado CU leads business for
Great.
college. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's exciting. So he's going to be doing stuff already. Yeah, let me see what I can find. And I just jotted down your email and I will send those items to you.
Yeah, this is my personal email. I sent it. So yeah,
Okay.
he is more interested in that. So I can help him.
Does he have any ideas that he's mulling over? Any businesses that he's interested in starting?
That's I have to talk to him really.
Okay. Sounds
Maybe,
good because
yeah,
then
you can send me some details. Like I can keep contact with you.
okay.
Well,
Yep, that
maybe
sounds great.
I can ask him to talk to you.
Sure.
Something.
Yeah, we're happy to talk to him. Yeah.
Thank you.
Kelly,
Thank
do you
so
have the
much.
email for the Starbucks card?
Yes, I have the Starbucks email. Okay. So I will send a Starbucks card. Thanks again, Carmen. Any other questions? Oh, I think we're almost time up. Yes, we are
Yeah,
time
we
up.
wanted to thank you, Liz and
Yeah.
Kelly, for joining us today and you're being open for people to contact you. And also a reminder that they're in the exhibit hall. So if you want to send an inquiry there, I'll go directly to them too. And if you will share the slides out after the conference. And Rachel dropped in our session survey. So if you can complete that before you exit the session, that would be great. Or open the link before you exit the session. So thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Liz, and we appreciate everyone who joined us today.
Thank all of you. We were delighted to be here today. It was our pleasure.